Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the last part of this week's drawing. And we're in week 3 of Mutant Animals in the Mutant Anime series. We have had a really awesome request this week, and it's been a pleasure drawing this guy, buddy. Still can't freaking remember your name. I know it's We Will Do It, or We Can Do It, or something along that lines. Let me know what your name is in the live comment section down below, or let me know in the comment section down below if you're watching back. Again, guys, my name is Blut084. BLUT084 Art and Games. I'm here again, and I'm going to be finishing this off today. As yesterday, we did some all that. We did some inking, and because it was Tuesday, because on a Monday we always get a sketch. I'd sometimes take requests. So if you have a request for a week or something you would like a theme for in my series, guys, then all you got to do is let me know in the comment section down below, or come over to Instagram, which I'm there every day and night, and occasionally on Mixer, which is a gaming streaming app. I'm not there as much as I used to be, but I will be there a bit more over the coming year. I'm just sort of getting used to the new technology of VR that I'm using at the moment. And I want to do some more art in there as well. So don't forget to hit subscribe and ding the bell so you know when I'm doing all of that good stuff. But today we're going to be listening to Comic Storian again, guys. And we've got Devil Dinosaur all queued up, ready to be listening to. But I want to be getting on with this today and using either my Copic markers, my coloring pens, or just pencils themselves. I'm not sure what I'm going to be using, guys, because I kind of want to give this not so much of a cartoony look and keep it sort of semi-realist, surreal. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I want to keep it in that kind of area and keep it like this. So I may use felt tips because my Copic markers are too dark, as you all know. These Copic markers are really good, but they're just really dark. Unless you're going to completely cover one area, then yeah, you got to be careful with it. I do not know what I'm going to do with this one because it has got 3, 4 different 5 colors in there already. We're going to have a bit of green for the crocodile, and black and white, maybe gray, maybe yellow for the penguin. And then at the top here, we've got the lion with the lion's tail, but the lion's mane, nice and easy, yellowy, orangey, browny kind of mix. I don't know what kind of color you would call it, but I call it yellowy browny mix. So we'll be getting on with that, guys. I might start off with the sea and just sort of color that in. See how the rock looks once I put a color over there, and see how dark these colors are actually going to be, guys, because I never really know how it's going to turn out until I've actually started coloring it in. That's why I generally stick to bright colors and bright things. But as you all know, I'm trying to take myself out of my comfort zone through this and get sort of something new done. So yeah, let's get that playlist in the background going. I'll set myself up and we'll get going.
Lunella was hit by the Terrigen mist when we last left off, and Devil Dinosaur desired to protect her. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you as a dinosaur. Roar! All alterations of the panel selected images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Yay! At the end of our last video, Lunella managed to fight off the killer folk who were trying to take the Nightstone. However, after the killer folk left, the Nightstone began to make a sound, and before she knew it, Lunella found herself in the middle of a Terrigen cloud. As the cloud faded, all that was left was an egg. Days began to pass since she transformed into the Terrigen egg, and Devil Dinosaur decided that he was going to keep watch over her. But tonight, the egg begins to crack. Devil Dinosaur gets up at the sound, waiting to see what's going to happen, and as the pieces of the egg begin to fall, a body crawls out, and out comes Lunella, unchanged. She runs over to the mirror to see what the transformation did to her, but nothing seems to be different. However, out in space on Novahala 4, in Kree territory, a young Kree boy by the name of Melvar begins to analyze the Inhumans of Earth. While doing so, he hears his father, Padvar, call out asking what he's been doing holed up in his room this whole time. When at his age, he was out riding the stars preparing for the noble warrior life, not sitting in a room watching the Omni monitor all day. Padvar points at the monitor, stating that these Inhumans were engineered by their forefathers to be the ultimate soldiers, but now they're just defectors. Nonetheless, they are a worthy warrior clan and an honorable challenge, but instead this boy sits dreaming with his head in the nebula. Once his father leaves, Melvar tells him that he'll show them all. He just needs to find a simple target that he can capture on his own. After putting information into the computer, it begins to scan the Inhumans and it pulls up a potential target for him, Lunella Lafayette. Back on Earth, though, Lunella continues her work at being a superhero, stopping robbers stealing from banks and brushing Devil Dinosaur's teeth, and running from the cops anytime they show up. But each night in her lab underneath her school, Lunella continues her research, trying to find out what changes she's gone through. And just like every other night, all of her research brings back nothing. No change, no difference. She's not an Inhuman, but she should be. The next morning, Lunella rushes into class as the bells ring and her teacher tells everyone to settle down. She has 2 announcements to make today, and they include what's under the tarp on the table. First, they have a new student joining them, Marvin Ellis. From where? And Marvin says, Kalamazoo. Yeah, I am happy to report that I am excited to be here. Where I came from, I excelled in scientific studies. The teacher stops him and tells him that's great to hear. Now off to his seat. She then pulls the tarp off of the desk, showing a Lego-built city, telling everyone that their school is going to be competing in the first Lego League. Lunella shouts yes, and all of the other students begin to gather and look. Marvin pushes through the crowd, telling them that he would like to volunteer himself.
I'll slurp my coffee.
Listen, you won't be leading anything. As the anger builds up, Lunella joins straight back
Get
up.
my pens.
Soon, she begins to growl, and she lunges at Melvin. Back in the lab, Lunella begins to ask herself where she is and how she got to the lab, and why does the floor look so far away? And then she looks in the mirror to see that she is Devil Dinosaur, and this is definitely not good.
That's pretty much all I need. Put that away.
Begins to roar, knocking the Lego city.
Like I said, these pens here, guys, they are freaking stupidly dark. Even the pink is dark, but they are brush pens, and they're really good. We'll use these eventually. Actually, again, once I get thinking about it, I might use that one there. That's a nice green. Nice fine line black there. Well, not fine line, that's the wrong colour. We may need that for blending. We may possibly need that one there for blending.
Seeing everybody running and screaming, and then remember,
we'll shove that over there.
She's a dinosaur now. The cops shout for her to stop where she's at, and she decides to do what Devil Dinosaur.
But I do have these. These are my double pens. You've got one side is felt, like a felt tip, and the other side is like it's meant to be a brush pen, but it's so very not like a brush pen. Just a fucking longer version of the felt tip pen. And that's a Sharpie.
As she sits alone from the way that she acted before, you know, when Devil Dinosaur was in her
Okay,
body.
right,
But
so
as
we've
she
got
starts to eat, Marvin
so
asks
many
him
different
to
colours
say
here.
He really doesn't know anyone here.
Yoink.
Lunella tells him to knock himself out, and then her stomach begins to grumble. She looks over
over
and
there.
she sees Marvin's hot dog and realizes that she wants that. Suddenly her mind goes blank, and then she bites the hot dog in his hand, eating it. She begins running down the table off of all of the other students' trays over in the city. Lunella is now inside Devil Dinosaur again, and she's stomping through the city, thinking about how this is great. Look at her now! Wait, she forgot about her. Well, they'll reel her anyway. Lunella in the Devil Dinosaur body heads over to the school, but as she gets close, she sees a trash can thrown out of the window, and Devil Dinosaur asking, "Moo?" Devil Dinosaur jumps onto Lunella's nose, and the two of them take off in each other's bodies. After finally finding a place to keep Devil Dinosaur from running away, Lunella sits down and begins to think, what is she going to do? The Future Foundation Fellowship, the Pim Prize, even the school's Lego League. She can't do anything with these lobster claw arms. Devil Dinosaur begins to shout and then falls over on his face, and suddenly Lunella begins to feel dizzy. Moments later, she wakes back up in her body, stating she knows it's nice to be back in her own skin. But going all fing-fang-foom on the police earlier was kind of fun. The next night, Lunella goes back to her listening post to hear that one of the candy stores that she likes is being robbed. The cops are busy and they're not going to be calling in the Avengers. So this is a job for Moon Girl and... But as she runs out into the alley, she sees the robbers already tied up. And then a voice tells her, "It took her long enough." Lunella looks up to see Melvar floating, telling her that he is Captain Kree. The Inhuman race has betrayed their blood oath, and he is here to take her to stand trial. As he floats down to stand in front of Lunella, she bursts out laughing, and Melvar tells her that he will show her, and he blasts her away. Once she gets back up, Lunella tells her that that was a bad move, and Devil Dinosaur charges in, punching Melvar away with his nose. Before landing on a building, Melvar flies back, stating that no force in the Omniverse will stand between him and his mission, Moon Girl. She tells him that's fine, she'll handle this, and she springs up with her extendable punch. She tells him that they need to get a few things straight first. First, don't call her an Inhuman. Second, she doesn't give a hubba bubba about his mission. She's got her own problems to deal with. As Melbar continues to fly around, Lunella pulls out her flashlight and blinds him, and he shouts that he is honored proud to arrest her, or his name isn't Captain Cree. Lunella tells him to listen to himself because, newsflash, no one else is. But she has a special gadget to get rid of him, and Devil Dinosaur punts him away as Lunella tells him, "Have a nice trip, Kid Cree." The next night, Lunella goes back on patrol, but while she hops into the back of Devil Dinosaur, a sudden blast shoots out, knocking her away. Devil Dinosaur quickly turns to catch her, but when Lunella gets down, she looks up and sees Kid Cree. Melbar tells her, "No! Inhuman scum, you must surrender and face Cree justice!" Lunella shouts back, telling him to give it up. Besides, that blast just knocked Devil Dinosaur through the subway tracks, and the next train is almost here. Devil Dinosaur jumps up onto the tracks to try and stop the train as Lunella tries to fly to the passengers to get them off of the train. Behind them, Melbar shouts, "Stand down, Moon Girl! Captain Cree is here to help!" While Devil Dinosaur continues to struggle with holding the train, the two start working on getting the last of the passengers off the train. But no sooner does the last one land than the train begins to move, with Devil Dinosaur still holding on. Lunella and Melbar try to get to him, but are knocked away, only to be caught by two giant hands. As they look up, they see Kamala Khan, the new Miss Marvel, telling them that they need to grow up. After setting the two of them down, Lunella watches Kamala, thinking, "Look at her, she's so boss. Melbar helped save these people. Go ahead and tell her, Moon Girl." Lunella looks at him, stating that Kid Cree here has been bothering her forever, Miss Marvel. He won't leave her alone. Kamala asks if this is true, and Melbar says that he doesn't have to answer to a couple of no-good Inhumans. But as he takes off to leave, he shouts back, telling them that it's Inhuman rebels like them that will need the help from the wrath of the Kid Cree. Back over at Melbar's home planet, Melbar's parents sit down for dinner discussing what they're going to do about their missing son. He kind of disappeared to go fight Moon Girl. Padvar says that he's probably sulking somewhere, but his mother says that it's because maybe his father didn't spend enough time with him. Padvar slams his fist down, stating that he will not discuss this at the feasting festival. After seeing the look on his wife's face, he has decided he shall look into what happened to their son. Back on Earth, Kamala helps clean up the mess on the shore of battle and tells Lunella that she shouldn't have to worry about Kid Cree. The Hulk told everyone to keep an eye out for her. Kamala then reaches into her pocket to take out a communicator, stating that she should have this. Lunella snatches it with her hand as Kamala tries to explain what it is, but Lunella already knows. It's an Avenger communicator! Tony Stark made this! Do you think he designed it himself? But Lunella stops herself, stating that she needs to be cool. Be cool. A few moments later, Kamala says that she's not really sure who's responsible for this whole thing, so maybe Moon Girl can just go home and use the communicator if there's ever an emergency. Lunella shouts, "Okay!" and Devil Dinosaur leans down and snorts.
I'm trying to leave a half of this the water droplet, so they kind of almost give a shine off, but I think I've already got the right colour on it, so the light's not coming from underneath.
She's not like any other girl he knows. She's different. The computer tells him that it needs more information to analyze the computer. He says that's right, he needs more information. And then he asks the computer to look up everything in the Kree archives about Terragenesis. Based on his information, Lunella wants to uncover her own inhumanity. Maybe he can find an answer first. A little while later,
some water now.
Underneath the school, she goes to check on her secret project. But as she does, she hears a beeping sound coming out of her back. When she turns around, she sees Melbar entering the lab, telling her not to be alarmed. It's Kid Cree! He knows something about her that she doesn't. Devil Dinosaur begins to growl and sniffs at Melbar, and he tells her that he used a tracer to follow her so that he can help her. She needs to listen. Lunella tells Devil Dinosaur to sick him, and Devil Dinosaur begins running down the sewers as he tries to tell her that this isn't what he wanted. What would it take to get through to the two of them? As the two leave, Lunella says Big Red can handle himself, so when did he place a tracer on her? Speaking of, she then pulls out the communicator. She thinks a space warlord out for blood sounds like an emergency, even if he's only 9 years old. But she will do it. She needs to make friends. A short while later, Lunella heads out as Kamala rushes over asking her what's wrong. And Lunella tries to tell her that Kid Cree attacked her. Devil Dinosaur's fighting her right now. Kamala asks if they should go help, and Lunella says, no, actually, yes. But, and then it starts to happen. Lunella opens her eyes and sees that she switched bodies again. After trying to think of why, of all the times could this have happened now, she then remembers that if she's here, Devil Dinosaur is inside of her body with Miss Marvel. Lunella runs out of the sewers and runs over to where she met with Kamala, and when she gets there, she discovers they're already gone. Next morning, Lunella opens her eyes and sees that she's in the hospital. She looks at her parents and tells them that she can explain. The doctor begins his examination, asking if she's been feeling anything unusual. And Lunella mentions, well, she does have a terrible stomach stomachache and her teeth kind of hurt. The doctor unstraps her arm, stating that would make sense because in her confused state she ate something, though they're hoping that they can manage to get part of it back. Lunella grabs the communicator, stating, "Don't worry, it's nothing," and then sees Devil Dinosaur tried to eat the communicator. He's the worst friend ever! After being discharged from the doctor's office, there's a ring at Lunella's door, and it's Marvin from class. He says his name is Marvin Ellis and he comes in peace. Since Lunella has been sick from school, he wanted to work with her to prepare for the LEGO League. Lunella's mother lets him in, stating that she supposes that's okay, and Marvin says that he assures her his intentions are honorable. As Marvin walks into the room, Lunella asks what does he want. Can't he read the sign that says keep out? But he tells her that he knows her better than she thinks. He also knows the LEGO League is a very important thing to her. So if she wants to show everyone what she's got, then they need to get on it. As the two of them begin to build their project, Marvin asks if he can ask a personal question. "You're a moon girl, right?" Lunella looks at him and tells him that it's not even a question, but he says everyone knows, so why bother with school? Why not just be moon girl all the time? Lunella says fine, she'll show him. Tells him, let's go. A little while later, she brings him to her lab, and from the shadows, Devil Dinosaur begins to growl. She tells him to shush. He's with her, and she needs them to get along, and Devil Dinosaur doesn't get along with anyone. He continues to growl as he sniffs Melvin, and then he roars. Lunella shouts for him to get out, this time for good. He ruins everything. But through her tears, she says that things are such a disaster. Devil Dinosaur is just kind of a hanger-on. Their minds are linked by her infinite power, but then her eyes widen as she turns back. Marvin has changed into Melvar, and he tells her that he has something to confess to. It's him, Kid Kree. His name is Melvar of the Kree Empire, and he is honor-bound to capture all inhuman traitors. He wishes things were different. However, this he must do, even though he loves her. Lunella tells him that that's gross, and Devil Dinosaur charges back roaring, and Melvar shouts, "No force in the known universe will come between Kid Kree and his woman." Lunella steps between them, stating, "Stop. First, she told Devil Dinosaur to get lost. Second, what? Just what?" Melvar kneels down, stating that he doesn't care who knows. But before he can say it, Lunella tells him to shut up, otherwise she'll sick Devil Dinosaur on him. So they're going to start from the beginning and explain this whole double-triple identity thing. Melvar begins to put his mask back on, stating that she doesn't know what it's like to live in a world that doesn't understand her.
I'm using a different color, guys. Again, you can't see it, but it is there. Again, with all the shading and that, I'll give you a zoom in, and I will take a picture of this, guys, to go to Instagram, because I can see what you can see, and all you can see is green. Actually, I like the shading on that, but I am going to be putting a little bit more in a different color.
She really doesn't care now. But this is her ticket to finally have someone notice her. She's also a practical person, so she knows that she can't get rid of him since she's already trying. But if he stays, he needs to stay out of her way. Melvar tells her she's got it, and then Lunella walks over to the tarp, stating that she needs the world to see what she's doing. She lifts the tarp, stating this is her top secret project. Melvar's mouth drops. Lunella says that she wishes she could enter this into the LEGO League. She would win for sure. Melvar then says that they're already going to win. What hope does the competition have? They are only humans. The two of them begin to laugh. The next day, the students gather to showcase their project to the LEGO League judges. And just as the teacher tells Lunella to explain to the judges what it is, her mind goes blank. But before falling over, she hits her watch. As soon as her body falls, the invisible force field locks her in place. But before anyone can figure out what's going on, the ceiling explodes. Melvar looks up to see his father telling everyone not to stand in his way. He's here to capture this inhuman. And he salutes him, his son, for neutralizing the enemy. Melvar kneels down, grabbing Lunella's body, telling him, no, he's not a warrior of the Kree. He will not let any harm come to the girl that he loves. Padvar then asks, what is he saying? And then Devil Dinosaur wakes up and tries to bite his hand. Back in the lab, eyes begin to light up, and soon something rushes out from underneath the tarp, hiding Lunella's top secret.
Give me a quick zoom in a minute, guys. You can actually see what I've done there.
Dinosaur stomping all over the LEGO displays and her body. She runs over, picking up Devil Dinosaur by the shirt, and then suddenly a giant Lego Triceratops.
So I've used two different colors,
tossed Devil Dinosaur into the
and I've still kept the scales. It's just I've sort of flipped the color here, this color there. So it looks like it's got scales, but it's sort of reflecting the sun a little bit. You can see what I'm trying to get at. This here is going to stay that layout, but if you can see here, ever so slightly put a bit darker into the knee and a bit darker on the back of the other leg. The nails and that have just got a little shading on the corners, and we've got the underneath here, which is underneath the tail, really.
What a great team! This is a start for Kid Kree and Moon Girl. And Lunella tells him no.
So the camera I'm using isn't the best.
He needs to change his world. She'll go
It's a bit jittery.
Padbar places his hand on Melvar's shoulders, and the two begin to leave as Lunella hops on Devil Dinosaur, stating that they should probably run away before the cops come. But before that, they're gonna go stomp a few things. Later that night, Lunella sits on a bench in the Lower East Side when a shadow looms over her. She asks if he's back, and Amadeus Cho asks if she wants some company. He heard what happened at the Lego League. Lunella asks if he's here to gloat, and he tells her no. Actually, he just wanted to ask her a question. A science question. Is she up for the challenge? As he holds out a device, Lunella says that she built a functioning cybernetic Triceratops out of Legos. The device displays a block, and Amadeus says that it used to belong to another friend. But this is a test. After a few presses of the buttons, Lunella hands it back, and Amadeus asks if she doesn't want to do it, but she looks up and says no, she already did it. Amadeus looks at it stating, what? No one ever. No one's even supposed to be able to. How? Lunella then asks, what does he think? And he tells her that he thinks that this means she might be the smartest person in the whole world. And that concludes the next arc of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I didn't realize you guys would enjoy the last one as much as you did, but luckily this just concluded. So if you want to keep this series going, then support it by picking up issue 13. I'll give you the link down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And don't forget, there is more Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and we can chat about that on Twitter at ComicStorian and Instagram at ComicStorian. I'll see you next time right here.
What's next? Oh no, we're not gonna get up. We've got to get up that because it's Christmas Eve stuff.
What are two prompters?
Okay, so I have to go over to Comic Story now, guys. Find something else to listen to while you have a quick look at what we've drawn already. What do I listen to? Is the question. Should we have, what's that? Scooby-Doo? We don't want Scooby-Doo, we want something mutants. Oh, what's this? Let's have this. Let's have Atlantis. It's a little semi-Atlantic.
In some parallel universe.
It's exactly the same.
I'm really confused.
Welcome to the Complete Story
Wow.
series, where I take trade paperbacks and single
Okay.
issues and I break them down into digestible bites. You see,
Come
at
with
this
this
channel,
rock a bit.
we like to tell you what is going on in current day pop culture, allowing you to go out and watch the next episode of a TV show, or go read the next issue of a comic book, or buy the next game in a game series. Today, we're going to be continuing our storyline of Aquaman Underworld, and when we last left off, everyone in Atlantis had assumed that Arthur Curry had died, but he had actually fallen to the underworld, where he was gathering a rebellion to retake the throne, but he couldn't have the throne. He didn't want to be the king again. Instead, it was decided that Mara would be the queen of Atlantis, but she is currently injured and had to go to the mainland to heal up. This is Mara's part of that story. It was another night in Louisiana as Orm sits with the young boy Tommy, telling him the stories of a world where he used to live. Tonight's story was Atlan, and how he hurled the giant kraken sword back into the maelstrom it spawned from to save the people of Atlantis. However, something different happened this night. When Orm put Tommy to bed, Tommy said goodnight to Dad. Orm smiled as he went back down the stairs, telling Aaron, Tommy's mother, what he said. As Orm kisses Aaron on the cheeks, he says that it's so great to hear. And then he begins to help her with the dishes. This was not the life Orm thought that he would have, living on land, staying with the dry mouths. He first met Aaron when he was on his way back to the ocean. He saved their lives and stayed to protect them. But it was only supposed to be temporary. Even though the call of the sea never fades, this time it's not as loud as it used to be. While Orm helps Aaron clean up, he overhears the news of the attack in Amnesty Bay. The report says that the target of this attack was apparently Mara, the so-called mermaid wife of Arthur Curry, the Aquaman. Rumors suggest that there is political strife and perhaps a civil war underway in Atlantis, with concerns that the trouble may spread onto U.S. soil. As the report goes on, Orm clenches his glass, breaking it in his hand. Aaron runs over asking if everything's okay. Sometimes she forgets how superhuman he really is. Was it something on the news that upset him? And Orm says no, it just took him by surprise. She tells him that the news mentioned trouble in Atlantis. Is he not tempted to go back, to go and get involved? But he tells her not to fret. His life is here with Tommy and her. But 6 hours earlier, Mara was facing off against this attacker, the Eel. It wasn't long ago that Mara returned to the surface to recover from an injury that she sustained while attempting to free Arthur from the magic imprisoning the people of Atlantis. The magical barrier was taken down, and Mara was able to return to the surface, but the magic affecting her had drained her powers, so much so that she couldn't even breathe underwater. At her peak, a fight with the eel would have been over in seconds, but with her powers in a state of healing, even the eel is proving to be a struggle. The eel smacks Mara down, asking if that's the best she's got. He's heard that she was supposed to be tough, like Justice League tough. She tries to get back up, but the eel picks her up, throwing her into the water, telling her that this is the easiest money that he has ever made. She begins to swim back up to the surface, but before she can reach it, eel dives in, holding her underwater, choking her, squeezing out every last bit of air that she has, and everything begins to go black. The water is supposed to be her home. She should feel alive here. It is the place where she spent her life growing up to kill Arthur. But that's when she realized that he was the one man that she truly loved. Her father, the King of Zebel, raised her to be an assassin under the watchful eye of Warlord Nereus and the Master of Arms, Liron. Liron would train her day in and day out, faulting her for relying too heavily on her powers. He would overpower her, telling her how weak she was for having to even use her powers. He taught her all the skills of war. The blade, the fist. She should be able to win without powers. As Mara opens up her eyes, she sees that she is still underwater, and Liron's lessons have served their purpose. She easily deflects Eel's oncoming attack, throwing him onto the pier's support, bringing down the dock. Tula, the woman who was supposed to be keeping Mara in bed, runs out shouting, "Holy crap, you shouldn't be fighting!" Mara lifts Eel out of the water, telling her that she isn't the one who started it. Later, in the lighthouse, Superman and Wonder Woman say that they have Eel secured, but who would plan an attack like that? Mara sighs, stating that she would imagine Eel was hired by her enemies in Atlantis. Gorm Rath won't openly attack her on land, but instead hire a surface agent, and that would be how he would murder the Queen of Atlantis. Superman and Wonder Woman ask her, "Queen?" And Mara tells them yes. To her surprise, she has been declared Queen in exile. Once that monster Rath is overthrown, she is to be the next ruler of Atlantis. Rath seized power by exploiting the people's dissatisfaction with Arthur's split loyalty for both Atlantis and the surface world. Arthur is currently in lead of a revolt now, but he refuses to take back the throne once Rath is gone. What's worse is there's no way that they could involve the surface heroes in this. Atlantis is fighting a civil war to figure out its own identity. So until that's resolved, her mission is to keep the world calm while the events play out underneath the ocean. Tula whispers that they've got to tell them. So Mara sits back down and Tula explains that Mara isn't going down there because she was hurt when she went to Atlantis. There is magic lingering in her that is making her weak, but her powers will return in due time. Wonder Woman says that she's so sorry. What will she do while in exile? And Mara says that she didn't want to become queen, and she doesn't plan on staying queen longer than she has to. The elders will eventually find a more suitable replacement, but until then, she needs to keep the surface at bay until the crisis in Atlantis is resolved. And while Mara meets with the Secretary of State for the U.S., the life of Orm starts to become harder to bear. As he watches Aaron and Tommy play in the rain, with water falling from the sky and landing, that is something that he'll never get used to. As Orm looks out the window, he knows that he won't be able to stay here for much longer. It's going to be time for him to go. The next morning, Tommy wakes up and runs out of his room with his fishing pole, ready to tell Orm that he's ready. Aaron wakes up and she hears Tommy. But the other thing that she notices is that the other side of her bed is empty and cold. Aaron hurries down the stairs asking what's going on, and Tommy says that Dad was supposed to teach him how to fish today, but he's not here. Aaron looks over and sees a note, and when she reads it, Orm tells her there was a matter of great significance that he must deal with. His other family needs him for a while, but if fortune favors him, he shall return. Aaron tells Tommy that Daddy has to go out, but he'll be back soon. Over in Amnesty Bay, Mara awakens to hear a scream coming from inside of the lighthouse. She runs out asking what's wrong, and Tula says that he was here. He said that he'd come find her. Mara says who, and Tula points at the door stating, "Your half-brother Orm." Mara walks down to the shore where Orm is, but before she can say anything, he says, "Hello, Mara of Zebel." After pausing for a moment, Mara asks,
There's one good thing about this pen, guys. When you use the final line,
of the ocean in a long time. She looks well.
But,
she asks again why he's here, and Orm says that he saw her on the news. He heard them speak of discord in Atlantis. Is it true?
But when you use the final line, you can actually use the larger one for like bigger brush strokes, and the smaller one for like little details, which I'm going to do now up in the cliff edge. That's what I've kind of used it as. I'm going to try and get all the scenery done. I don't really know what colours the bottom is. So I'm kind of like stuck here at the moment with this, but I'm going to carry on with the background, the extras on the background. So I'm going to be doing that with the fine line a little bit. And the fine line are part of these pens. Again, they're two-sided. That's like a brush pen. Well, meant to be a brush pen. And that one there is a fine line. This is Copic marker ink, or well, I think it's ink, but it's not that well blending. So I'm trying my best, and we'll get there eventually.
Is Arthur slain? Mara tells him that Arthur is alive but dethroned. He's fighting a war against Coram Wrath. Orm looks out over the sea, stating that it's clear that he must go back. Atlantis is my home. It needs me, though I would not return to it by choice. The surface is my life now. Isn't that strange? I have found a life, a love, a family. It is a shame to give that up. Mara sees the joy in Orm's eyes and says that this is not a side of him that she would have guessed existed. He laughs. Surprises me still. To find true love in the dry heat of the surface world I so despise. But as a man of royal blood, I am bound by my duty to return. Mara thinks back to the war for the throne and the things that Orm did and says, perhaps Atlantis does not need his help. Orm asks, what right does she have to address him in such a manner? Zebulon, you're not helping by being here. She tells him that she has her reasons and is doing her part here, that he should go back to his family that he claims to cherish. Atlantis isn't his home anymore. Atlantis already has someone. She is the queen. As those words sink in, Orm yells, no! No! By whose authority? You're not even Atlantean. Mara says perhaps not, but she was chosen and named queen in exile according to tradition. She'll return to Atlantis and rule once the war is finished. Until then, she stands there to protect Atlantis and its interests from external threats. Don't get dragged into the chaos of Atlantis again. Last time he was exiled. Now he has something. Go back to your happy life. Mara reaches out telling him to wait, but Orm spins back, hitting Mara, shouting, get your peasant hands off me! Using what power she has, she leaps from the water, striking Orm down, yelling, how dare you strike a queen! Before Mara could finish him, her powers fade again. So he picks himself up, asking, are you holding back? Do you assume that I can be defeated that easily? But that's when Tula jumps on Orm's back, slamming his face into the water, shouting, get back, she's hurt! Orm knocks Tula off, asking, what do you mean Mara is hurt? So Mara punches him, telling him, it's only temporary. The two go back and forth, with Mara knocking Orm down and telling him to just stay down. Atlantis has a monarch. It's me, and I forbid you from getting involved. Orm stands up, shouting in rage, you forbid me! You are nothing. I am the Ocean Master. Lightning strikes as Orm begins to create typhoons and launches Mara into the heart of it. Tula rushes in to help, but Orm tells Mara that she knows nothing about duty. You Zebulon vermin! Atlantis calls me. I will save it. As the waves die down, Orm holds his trident to
looking
Mara's
alright.
stating that she has seized this moment
I like that
to
scene,
usurp the throne of Atlantis for Zebulon. The oldest enemy of Atlantis will not win through such subterfuge. It's time things were ended once and for all. He raises his trident, but before he can strike, a voice calls out, Dad? Orm freezes. He looks up and he sees Tommy running towards him, asking, what are you doing? Tommy stumbles as he tries to go through the waves, shouting, Daddy, please don't hurt her! And Mara leans up quietly, telling Orm, not in front of your son, Orm. Orm looks at Aaron as she asks, what the hell is happening? Orm tells both of them, I don't expect you to understand. I have a duty to Atlantis. It is my responsibility as royal blood. Tommy asks, it's your duty to hurt people? Why are you dressed like that? Orm doesn't answer, and Aaron says it's because he's going back. She knew he'd come here.
He's going
She saw how
back
upset he got about the news.
to
That stupid note. He promised that he would stay. He said he loved them. Orm's confused. Please, let me explain. I do love you, but my kingdom. Aaron shouts over him, telling him, you told me what being a king did to you. It wasn't good. Orm tries to tell her, the duty, I have to. But Aaron stops him again. You have a duty to us. We were going to be married. Are you really choosing Atlantis over us? Why? Why aren't we good enough for you? A short while later, Tula plays with Tommy outside, leaving Mara, Orm, and Aaron to discuss things. Mara tells Aaron that she doesn't have to worry. Tula will take care of her son while they figure this whole thing out. Orm says of course she will. Tula is his half-sister. Aaron turns back asking, you're what? After all this time, I still don't know a damn thing about you. For God's sake, you're a sister? Why haven't you told me these things? Is it because it would be difficult for us to understand? Orm tells her, when you are royal blood, there's a solemn burden of duty, a responsibility that... Mara interrupts him, stating, allow me. A tyrant named Coram Wrath has seized the throne of Atlantis. The people are trying to overthrow him. The nation itself is divided. Our kin below are dying. It's brutal, bloody, and awful. Aaron then asks, this is why he must go?
Right, okay, so we've
help?
got
Yes, Orm, tell us, how can
scenery.
you
Got to do a little bit more
Orm
to this
sighs.
rock here.
I am uncertain.
We've got
First
colour
have
in
to
the
see the
lion
situation at
and the
hand
penguin.
make
The
a
penguin's
judgment.
black,
All
so
I
it's
know
going to
is
be
that
like,
it is my duty.
what to use.
Aaron gets up, throwing her drink at him. God damn it! That word! I understand duty. It's to family, to the ones you love.
He said duty.
Your duty is to Tommy and me,
the
but you
duty
made that
again.
sound like an excuse. Mara stands up.
He's
This
a
is
duty.
different. Duty is ingrained
Oh,
in
he's a
someone of
duty
royal
kid.
lineage. It was bred into them from birth. They're indoctrinated with the concept of a higher purpose. When I was raised, I had a tutor. He instructed me in their people's traditions and made me study the old texts and ancient lore day after day, all to prepare me, as the Princess of Zebel, to place the throne above all other concerns. When the warlord Nereus, on orders from my father the king, sent me to kill the king of our oldest enemies, I did not hesitate. Aaron asks, what happened after that? Mara smiles.
This is running out.
I couldn't do it. I found the enemy king and he was not the monster that I expected. I fell in love with him. Our bond overcame all notions of duty. She is not at Arthur's side because she can't be. She was wounded. Her powers are slowly returning, but they're still unpredictable. Aaron then says she understands Mara's reasoning, but what about Orm's? He doesn't live in the ocean anymore. Orm tells her that if the Civil War spreads, it will trigger a global conflict. It could affect the whole world. It could affect you. She says that she's starting to understand, but if it's that important, why were they fighting? Shouldn't they be working together? Mara laughs out loud, and Aaron says, well, why not? It's important to both of you. You could work together for the common good, for duty, as Orm puts it. Aaron then says that they should at least talk it out. When Atlantis is safe, you can come back to me. Mara and Orm look at each other, and Mara says, two of us have history. Tells them to consider it. Talk to each other, please. She's going to go check on Tommy. A short while later, along the coast, Orm asks Tula if she believes that Mara and him can work together. Is it even possible? Tula says that she's not sure. Mara right now is trying to avoid global involvement. Orm tells her that that is a feasible course. A more direct approach is needed.
Run out.
But to weigh in on Arthur's side, they need an army. Not an army from the surface, but there is one ally that she can call upon. Tula thinks about it for a second and then yells, Mara is not going to like that. A short while later, Tula asks Mara if she's sure about this, and she says, yes, they must go to Zebel. Mara and Tula watch as Orm says his goodbyes with the promise of soon returning, and with that, they dive into the waters. Mara leads Orm to the ancient barrier that protects Zebel, the shuttered kingdom of exiles. As soon as they pass, Orm sees the guards swimming towards them, stating, they welcome us. And one of the guards shouts, invaders, get them both. Mara then begins to use her powers, telling Orm to remember, subdue them. Orm bashes one, stating, they raised a hand to me. An example must be made. He raises his trident, but Mara swims over, telling him, no, these guards are just doing their duty. They must. But just then, the both of them are hit with an equally powerful blast from behind, down on the sea floor. Mara says that she warned him. They mustn't ignore their customs or provoke them. I'm pretty sure that we're past that, Lady Mara. All of the Zebel forces begin to surround them, and Liron says, well, King Nereus, look what the tide has washed in. Nereus tells him, indeed, my arch enemy, Orm Marius, and my traitor wife, Mara. There you have it. We have Orm the Ocean Master and Mara going to Zebel to find more people to help with the rebellion. It's going to be epic. And if you subscribe to our channel, you'll get the next part of this storyline next week. And then we're going to be concluding the whole storyline when Mara and Arthur team up once again. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the Aquaman movie. For me, I really did enjoy it. I thought some of the dialogue was a little funny, and the Pitbull song was, well, just why. But overall, I did enjoy that movie. Don't forget, you can also find us over on patreon.com/comicstorian, where we continually bring you extra content to basically, you help us by giving us $1 a month. We give you a ton of extra content. It's a nice give and take situation, and I do appreciate everyone who goes over there. I'll see you next time right here at Comic Storian.
We've got some more Atlantic coming up. I'll leave that going.
Welcome to the Complete Story series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites. You see, here at Comic Storian, we then take your favorite comic books, we add in some voices, we add in some music, and we give you an epic tale. One for the ages. And it allows you to understand what's happening in your current comic books so that you can go out and buy the next issues or go pick them up at a digital retailer and stuff like that. Today, we're going to be continuing our storyline of Aquaman Underworld, which basically was, long story short, where we are right now, Aquaman was thought to be dead. He was living in the Third Triad, which was like beneath everything. They were like the slums of Atlantis. These slums then wanted to build up a rebellion to get rid of the current king, Coram Wrath. And we then discovered that Mara had to use all of her powers to break through Coram Wrath's barrier. She got through, found Aquaman in the slums, but then all of her powers were gone and she couldn't breathe underwater. She then went to the surface to heal up and get her powers back, and she was announced the new Queen of Atlantis once Aquaman removes Kormrath from the throne. Now we're doing the second part of Mera. She's been on the surface, and in order to go back and be the Queen of Atlantis and bring additional support to Aquaman, she has decided to go all the way back to her people and try to get them to help her. But keep in mind, she's practically in exile. There. Recap done. Enjoy the story, and the playlist of the rest of those will be down below.
Penguin.
When we last left off, they had entered into Zebul, only for Orm to
time.
realize that he wasn't about to get a warm welcome, as Nereus wasn't happy that his traitor wife had returned. A short while later, in the Zebelian arena known as the Stand, a giant Octodon crawls towards Mera, and Orm yells, "This is ridiculous! Ritual combat to even speak to the damned king?" Mera tells him that she already told him once before that this is Zebelian custom, to gain the right of audience with the king. From his seat, Nereus shouts, "Orm Marius, fallen king of cursed Atlantis! Mera, the treasonous renegade, you must prove yourselves in the rite of supplication. Let the rite commence!" As he finishes, the massive Octodon rushes forward, and Mera tells Orm to just make sure to avoid the limbs and aim for the brain sac. Orm calls out that he has hunted Octodon before, woman. Don't you tell me how to. But before he can finish, the Octodon lashes out, throwing him into a pile of debris. Mera yells that she said, "Avoid the limbs!" As the Octodon grabs onto Mera, Nereus sits up, asking Mera's grandmother, Lamia, that he trusts this beast of hers hasn't been fed. Lamia tells her that she hasn't fed it in weeks. And Laron laughs, stating, "My money is still on, Lady Mera." Mera manages to free herself, but before she could fully use her powers, the Octodon reaches back out, wrapping its tentacle around her, squeezing the last bit of air out. And Mera calls out to Orm, and Orm swims up, throwing his trident through the brain sac, telling Mera, "Calm down." As the Octodon falls, Mera begins to tell Orm nice work, but Orm shouts, "Nereus of Zebul, your game is over. You will give us an audience now, you primitive barbarian. We have proven ourselves according to your heathen ritual." Mera says that isn't how she would have put it, but Orm is right. It's time to talk. So a short while later in the Zebul throne room, that many would have considered more of a war room for a war chief, Nereus says that he knows of the civil war in Atlantis. Kormrath took the throne, and now there is dissent at his rule. That's why they've come here, isn't it? The Atlantean outcast and the turncoat princess come to plead for support in their war against King Wrath. Mera tells him that Wrath is a tyrant, a threat to Zebul. This crisis breeds unlikely alliances. Orm and herself, for example. Kormrath's reign of terror affects them all. Nereus asks, "Is that so? There's always been bad blood between us and Atlantis. We survived by staying out of each other's business." Mera continues to state that Wrath is not like previous Atlantean kings. He has imperial dreams. Nereus clutches his fist, shouting, "Then we will fight hard!" And Orm yells, telling him, "You will, and you will lose." If Zebul commits its forces now while Wrath is consolidating his power, there is a chance to unseat him. Nereus looks at Laron, asking, what does he think?
That's actually worked out better than I
think
thought
that
it would,
Zebul's going
guys.
to fight for Atlantis? Mera tells him yes, but they won't be laughing when King Wrath's legions wipe Zebul from the ocean bed. If they side with the Atlantean rebels, they will be
What colour
protecting
is the
themselves.
beak
The
of
tyrant
a penguin?
Wrath
I
will
can't
do the whole world
remember.
if he's
Where's my
not
mouse
stopped.
gone?
Nereus
There it is.
says, "All right." And then the
It has
next king of Atlantis will become a
it has a
threat,
few
and then
colours.
the next, and then
Let's
the
have a
next.
look.
History repeats
See?
itself. That if the half-breed
So
Aquaman
it's
becomes
like
king again, things
the colours
will
I've done it.
change. Mera
Black
says,
and
"My husband
yellow,
has no intention
orange.
of retaking the throne." Nereus gets up. "Husband? There was a time when you would have been my queen. I would have made you
Okay,
happy.
so it's like
You
the
had just done
colour
your
of...
part and assassinated the air breather. Atlantis
black
would have been
gold?
at our mercy, but no. Instead, you had to fall in love with him, and..." Mera stops him, stating, "You didn't love me, and I didn't love you. Us together would have been a miserable match. New possibilities face us now." Nereus walks back to his throne, asking, "And who would the new ruler be if not Wrath?" Mera and Orm wait for a moment, and then Mera tells him, "I will be. I've already been declared queen in exile. And as queen, I promise that if you stand with me, Zebul will have the gratitude and friendship of a Zebul-born Atlantean monarch." Nereus stares, and Orm tells him, "Yes, it took me a moment to process it as well." Laron leans in, stating, "Great gods of the deep, I'm so
Okay, so
very
that's the
proud
colour
of
it
you."
has.
Mera goes on stating that she was sent all those years ago to end the war with Atlantis. She didn't end it the way that they wanted, but with this, they could do so by other means. Nereus storms out of the throne room, shouting, "No, no, 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 the whole damn world's gone mad." Mera sighs, stating that she knew he would be happy. But Laron stops her, stating that he's just upset That she's outdone him, Queen of Atlantis? The king needs some time to cool down so he can see the good that can come of this. Stay here while I go and talk some sense into him. As Liron leaves, Mira says that she thinks it's going to be all right, and Orm tells her, right. Things are going swimmingly. A short while later, the sound of metal hitting metal can be heard as the forces of Zebel train while Nereus and Orm watch. Orm says, you must see the sense in all of this. A chance like this only comes once in 1,000 years. We have a chance to protect and secure Zebel and form a solid alliance with the future ruler of Atlantis. Nereus asks, siding with rebels, what if Wrath wins? Zebel would assuredly be targeted next. Orm tells him, no, the rebels will win. But if Wrath prevails, it will be the rest of the world that gets burned down, not just Zebel. One of the soldiers strikes another, and then he looks up at Nereus, and Nereus gives him the thumbs down. The soldier stabs the man in the chest, and Nereus asks, do you miss it? Do you miss how the power feels? And Orm silently watches the soldiers continue to train. Later that night at Nereus' throne room, a shadowy person says that this is a chance to make gains. It could secure the future of Zebel forever, the removal of Wrath, and neutering of Atlantis, all in one go. Nereus tells that person that Mara will resist. The person asks, why does he care? Nereus says that they need an unbreakable bond of blood. He's already under Orm's skin. Are you prepared to deal with Mira? Lamia walks out, stating, of course, my lord king. She's delivered to us the means of achieving a great and last victory. It's time her granddaughter was properly punished for turning her back on Zebel. The next morning, Nereus sits for breakfast when he sees Orm walk in, and he asks, won't you sit with me for a meal? Orm tells him that he has his appreciation, but has he given thought to their proposal? Nereus takes a bite of his food, stating, ha, straight to the point, huh? There's still a king in you somewhere. We need more men like you. You understand the complexities of the throne. You know how to make the hard choices. Yes, I've given some thought to aiding the rebels, but there are certain conditions that must be ironed out first. Orm asks, what does he mean? And Nereus says that you are asking me to side with an old enemy, with a traitor of our kingdom. There are opportunities here. One that we have not even considered. Allow me to explain. Later, as Mero spends time with Laron, Orm interrupts the conversation, stating that it is time. Nereus is ready to announce his decision. Mira swims up, stating that she has got a good feeling about this. They've accomplished something together. She's glad he came with her. Who would have imagined her saying that? And Orm tells her that he will always serve Atlantis. It's been a pleasure to act on the same side as her for once. Soon, everyone gathers in the throne room, and Nereus announces that by his royal decree, the armies of Zebel will commit against the tyrant Wrath. They will fight to protect Atlantis and their future. Mara smiles, stating that she's glad to hear it. It is a wise choice that he will not, but he stops her. There is one condition. Mira sighs, stating, there it is. He goes on, stating, the armies of Zebel cannot be seen to follow a traitor. Orm must be the commander who leads them to war. Mira looks at Orm. Did you know about this? And Orm tells her, I suspected that he would have specific demands. She thinks about it, knowing that Nereus is trying to save face, and says, very well. Orm can have field command in the fight to secure my throne. Lamia tells her, you misunderstand. Zebel will commit, provided that it is to restore Orm as the king of Atlantis. Mara tells them that they know that that's not possible. I am queen now. Nereus stands up from his throne, asking, do you not accept these terms? Even as the fate of your beloved Atlantis hangs in the balance? In the back of her mind, she thinks that maybe this could be good. She never asked to be queen. She could be free. Her and Arthur could be free from the power, the rule, and the duty. But for all that has changed, Orm still remains too dangerous to wear the crown. Mara says that to have a Zebel born on the throne of Atlantis will secure lasting peace between the warring kingdoms. But Lamia stops her, stating, you mistake this for a negotiation. Orm is a better choice and offers far more security for the future than you. Mara pauses for a moment and then turns to Orm. You struck the deal with them. Was this about the throne all along? Orm tells her, I was only thinking of Atlantis. It's the only way to bring Zebel into the fight on our side. And Mara asks him, what of Aaron? What of Tommy? The life that he loved. They're waiting for him to return. Is he just going to forget them? Orm says that he will never forget them. But this is more important than them, or me, and it is my duty. Mara begins to shout to Nereus that he knows full well that Orm is a dangerous man. How could he possibly offer them a more certain future as king? Nereus tells her, through blood, of course. Lamia smiles, stating that if the king of Atlantis is tied to the king of Zebel through a direct blood link, then peace is guaranteed. A bond between the families. Mara looks back at Orm, stating, he didn't. Nereus goes on, stating, Orm is here to be my brother king, and my brother-in-law. Just then, two guards walk in holding Tula, and and she shouts, asking, "What the hell is going on?" Mara yells at Orm, asking, "You're going to marry off your sister by force? You're so desperate for power that you would sacrifice Tula for it? Your own sister!" She lunges forward, punching Orm, but Orm
I'm going to start using pencils
attack,
now, guys,
with
but only
Nereus
for the
slamming
sky
his
because I
sword
don't
down,
want to
stating,
use the
"That
blue
will
that I've
be
already got
enough.
for the Sith.
Tradition forbids violence in the throne room. Mara, step away from the Atlantean king in exile." Mara shouts that Orm will not treat Tula like a pawn. Zebel will not get to decide who the next ruler of Atlantis is. Nereus tells her that she is a traitor with no position to argue. Guards control her. She may be a fine warrior, but she cannot take all of Zebel and win. She gets ready to say something back, but holds her tongue, stating that it is warning. She can't. But she can fight for the throne. And as per Zebelian tradition, she demands trial by combat. Nereus tells her that that is absurd, but Lamia whispers to him that it is a law. They cannot deny it. So Nereus then says, "Very well. By my royal decree, let combat decide." Tula yells to Mara that she can't. She's not strong enough yet. And Mara looks at Orm and tells him, "I challenge you for the throne of Atlantis in single combat. Do you accept?" Orm hesitates for a second and then tells her, "Yes, I accept." Later at the Strand Arena, the final preparations for Mara's fight begins, and Liron asks, "Are you ready? Do you want my lance?" She tells him no, and Liron yells, "But he will have a damn weapon." She says yes. He is the Ocean Master. His trident channels the wrath of storms. A lance isn't going to help. As the iron bars begin to rise, Liron says, "Just make sure that you win, and make it a good finish. Give them a show." She walks out telling him, "There is no if." She stands before Orm, and the crowds begin to surround and chant, "Orm! Orm! Orm!" Once the crowds die down, Nereus stands and tells the people, "Hear the call of your king. We've assembled according to the tradition to witness the ritual trial by combat. The combatants will fight for the throne of our great rival nation, Atlantis. Let this, my will, be enacted. Orm Marius, of the royal Atlantean blood, his challenger, Mara, daughter of Zebel, to the victor, the crown, to the loser, death." The crowds cheer, and Mara tells Orm that it is not too late, he can back out. This doesn't have to happen. And he yells that it must. "It is my destiny, and only you stand in my way. I am honor bound to protect Atlantis." Mara asks what of his sister's life. He's also forgetting the love and the family that he left up above. How is he protecting them? He grips his trident, and he says, "Nothing from the surface matters. Not when Atlantis needs me." Before the two could go on, Nereus yells, "Enough, let the fight commence." Orm quickly hurls a bolt of lightning, which Mara evades, leaping in to punch Orm. She punches him over and over, telling him, "People are nothing but pawns to you, tokens in your power games. Your toxic self-regard is why you will never be the king that Atlantis needs." Orm hits her back, knocking her down, shouting, "You are not worthy of the throne. Let this be the end of you." He stabs down with his trident, and Mara rolls out of the way, but at the last second, she blasts Orm back into a pile of shipwrecked debris. From the stands, Lamia says that Mara is holding her own, and Nereus tells her, "Don't worry. The odds are stacked against her. I borrowed some of her water worms." The water worms lash out, trying to bite at Mara, and with her distracted, Orm fires them with a bolt of lightning. As the dust settles, Orm asks, "Are you slain, or just wounded in hiding? Show yourself!" From behind the rubble, Mara throws out parts of the shipwreck at Orm, and Orm releases all of his power, tearing through and asking, "Is this your best? I am the Ocean Master. I will bury you where you stand." All of the metal begins to come down on Mara, and it's at this moment that she realizes something. She isn't strong enough. But that ends now. For far too long, she has borne the burdens of others. She never wanted any of this. Her training in Zebel taught her to be strong. Her life on the surface is a testament to that. It was never about wanting anything. It was about being something. Not a pawn, but instead a queen. She rips through the...
Okay, I'm going to end that playlist there, guys, and say thank you very much for watching. I'm now finished. Hopefully, if you've made it all the way to this point, guys, and you've watched all the rest, let me know in the comment sections. Let me know what you think of my mutant animal this week. As we've got a lion, a penguin, and a crocodile. Don't forget to check out last week's, which we did the Wolverine, the animal Wolverine. And we've digitized that one, and it's ready to watch. So go and check that one out, guys. I'm going to end this one here and say, again, thank you very much for watching. And check out the digital version when I go and sort it out. I'm going to be uploading that one, guys. So don't forget to hit subscribe. And I will see you next time. I've already got a request for next week, so don't forget to tune in and find out what that animal is going to be a combination of. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. My name's Blut084, BLUT084, art and games, here every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram, which is where I'll post this picture for a better quality look at what I've done today. And the camera I'm using is Pants. So yeah, guys, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.